Bavaria, 1922. A small farmstead nestled in the serene, rolling hills of the Bavarian countryside. Life here was simple, quiet and unassuming. Hinterkaifeck, the name itself sends shivers down the spine. This seemingly peaceful homestead would soon become synonymous with horror and tragedy. It was here, in this isolated homestead, that a crime of unspeakable brutality unfolded. A crime that continues to haunt the annals of history. 6 souls, brutally extinguished. The Gruber family, along with their maid, met a fate so gruesome that it defies comprehension. No witnesses, no answers. The silence of the farmstead was only broken by the whispers of the wind through the empty fields, a haunting reminder of the lives that were so violently taken. Only a chilling tableau of violence and mystery. The farmhouse, once a place of warmth and family, now stood as a silent witness to the horrors that had transpired within its walls. The discovery was as shocking as it was gruesome. The tranquility of the Bavarian countryside was shattered by the revelation of this heinous crime. Neighbors, alarmed by the family's unexplained absence, ventured into the farmhouse. They had noticed the eerie stillness, the lack of activity that was so uncharacteristic of the bustling farm. Nothing could have prepared them for the horror that awaited. The scene that greeted them was one of unimaginable carnage. 6 bodies sprawled amidst the everyday objects of farm life, frozen in their final moments of terror. The Grubers, a family wiped out in the blink of an eye. This wasn't just murder, this was overkill. The Grubers, a family known for their hard work and resilience, were now reduced to a tragic footnote in history. Their lives, their dreams, their future, all snuffed out in a single horrific night. A frenzy of violence. The sheer brutality of the attack suggested a rage that was deeply personal, a vendetta that had been simmering beneath the surface. Who could have committed such a heinous act, and why? These questions would echo through the years, haunting the minds of those who dared to delve into the mystery. These questions would consume investigators and amateur sleuths for decades to come, each clue unearthed only deepening the mystery. Theories abounded, from disgruntled neighbors to vengeful lovers, but none could definitively explain the horror that had unfolded at Hinterkaifeck. The Hinterkaifeck murders remain a chilling testament to the darkness that can lurk in the human heart, a puzzle box of evil that may never be fully unlocked. The farmhouse, now long gone, still casts a long shadow over the landscape, a grim reminder of the fragility of life and the depths of human depravity. As the years passed, the story of Hinterkaifeck became legend. A ghost story whispered around campfires, a cautionary tale of the unknown dangers that can lurk in the most unexpected places. The mystery endures, a dark chapter in the history of a quiet Bavarian village, forever etched in the annals of true crime. Imagine a place far removed from the bustle of village life, a place where the modern world feels like a distant memory, and the only sounds are the whispers of the wind and the rustling of leaves. Fields stretching into the distance as far as the eye can see, with the horizon blending into the sky. These fields, vast and seemingly endless, were the lifeblood of the community, providing sustenance and a sense of purpose. A dirt road, winding and solitary, served as the only connection to the outside world. This path, often muddy and treacherous, was a lifeline for the inhabitants, linking them to the nearest village miles away. This was Hinterkaifeck, a place where time seemed to stand still, where the past lingered in every corner, and the future felt uncertain. The farmhouse, weathered and worn, stood as a testament to the resilience of those who lived there. Here, the rhythms of nature dictated the pace of life. The changing seasons brought both beauty and hardship, with each day presenting new challenges and rewards. The cycle of planting and harvest, birth and death, was a constant reminder of the delicate balance of life. The Grubers, a family of 6, called this isolated farmstead home. They were a tight-knit group bound by blood and the shared struggle of rural life. Andreas Gruber, the patriarch, was a man of few words, his silence often speaking louder than any outburst. His stern demeanor and quick temper made him a formidable figure, both respected and feared by those who knew him. Known for his quick temper and distrust of outsiders, Andreas was a man who valued hard work and discipline above all else. His presence loomed large over the farm, his authority unquestioned. His wife, Kazilia, bore the weight of farm life and the care of their 2 children. She was the backbone of the family, her strength and resilience keeping them together through the toughest times. The lively 7-year-old Victoria and the infant Joseph brought joy and laughter to the otherwise harsh environment. Their innocence and energy were a stark contrast to the grueling demands of farm life. Also living on the farm were Maria, Andreas's daughter from his first marriage, and her young daughter, also named Kazilia. The extended family shared the burdens and joys of rural existence, their lives intertwined by fate and necessity. Maria and her daughter, young Kazilia, added another layer to the family dynamic. Their presence brought both comfort and complexity as they navigated the challenges of living under Andreas's strict rule. Life on the farm was harsh, unforgiving. The isolation weighed heavily on the inhabitants, creating a sense of loneliness and vulnerability. The daily grind of farm work left little time for rest or leisure, and the constant struggle to make ends meet took its toll on everyone. The isolation weighed heavily on the inhabitants. The long, cold winters and the sweltering summers tested their endurance, while the vast, empty landscape often felt like a prison. Whispers circulated in the nearby village about the strange goings-on at Hinterkaifeck. The farm's remote location and the family's reclusive nature fueled rumors and speculation about Andreas's volatile nature and the family's dark secrets. The villagers spoke in hushed tones, their curiosity mingled with fear and suspicion. What really happened behind the closed doors of the Gruber farmhouse? Little did anyone know that these whispers would soon turn to screams. The tranquility of Hinterkaifeck would be shattered by a series of events so shocking they would leave an indelible mark on the community and echo through history. The isolation of Hinterkaifeck was more than just physical. It was a place where the silence was almost deafening, where the nearest neighbor was miles away, and where the sense of being cut off from the rest of the world was palpable. An atmosphere of unease, of impending doom, seemed to cling to the farm in the months leading up to the murders. The skies were often overcast, casting a perpetual shadow over the land, and the wind seemed to carry whispers of dread. Strange occurrences plagued the Grubers, unexplained events that hinted at a darkness gathering on the horizon. The creaking of the old house, the rustling of the trees in the nearby forest, all seemed to be harbingers of something sinister. Footprints in the snow leading from the edge of the forest to the farmhouse door, but none returning. It was as if someone or something had come to the farm and never left. A set of house keys vanished without a trace. The family searched high and low, but the keys were never found, adding to the growing sense of unease. The unsettling feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes peering through the windows. The Grubers often felt as if they were not alone, as if someone was always watching them from the shadows. These were just a few of the unsettling events that plagued the family. Doors would creak open on their own, lights would flicker without explanation, and shadows seemed to move of their own accord. Then there was the matter of the previous maid. She had been a loyal servant, but something had driven her away. She had fled the farm months before, claiming the house was haunted, that she had heard voices whispering in the attic. She spoke of shadows that moved on their own, and a presence that seemed to follow her. Her warnings were dismissed as the ramblings of a superstitious woman. The Grubers and those who knew them thought she was simply imagining things, that her mind was playing tricks on her. But in the cold light of hindsight, they took on a chilling significance. The things she had described, the feelings of dread and the strange occurrences, all seemed to be pieces of a puzzle that no one had put together in time. Were these the whispers of a tormented soul, or a harbinger of the horror to come? The questions lingered unanswered as the farm stood silent, a grim reminder of the events that had unfolded there. The Gruber's story became a cautionary tale, a reminder that sometimes the omens of dread are all too real. The exact details of that fateful night will forever remain shrouded in mystery. What is known is that on the evening of March 31st, 1922, the Gruber family, along with their maid, Maria Baumgartner, who had arrived earlier that day, gathered for what they believed would be their final meal. They had no idea that death lurked just outside their door. Darkness had fallen, shrouding the farmstead in an eerie silence. Somewhere in that darkness, a killer or killers lay in wait. They had been there for days, perhaps even longer, hiding in the attic, observing the family's every move, their malevolent intent growing with each passing hour. One by one, the family members were lured to their deaths. First, the maid Maria was killed in her room. Then, one by one, the others were slain in their beds. Victims were bludgeoned with a heavy tool, most likely a pickaxe. The mystery deepened when neighbours, worried after not hearing from the family for several days, came to check on them. What they discovered was shocking. The bodies were discovered in the house, but strangely, no one had seemed to have left the farm. The murderer had been living in the house for days after the crime, hiding in the attic and consuming food from the family's pantry. Authorities quickly arrived at the scene and began investigating, but the case only grew more bizarre. The murderer had cleaned up after the murders, eating food and even milking the cows. The family's dog was also locked outside, but otherwise the house appeared relatively undisturbed. No sign of forced entry, no fingerprints, no weapon found at the scene. Over the next few weeks, theories flooded in. Was the killer someone from the family's past? Could it have been a jealous lover, or someone with a grudge? Or did they have a hidden enemy? But the truth remained elusive. One of the strangest aspects of this case was the theory that the murderer might have been someone familiar with the family or even living with them in the days after the crime. Some investigators suggested that it might have been a family member, possibly Victoria's former lover, or a disgruntled worker from the farm. Others speculated that the killer had a psychological motive, an obsession with the family or an attempt to silence them. Another theory pointed to a potential connection with the maid Maria, as she had a history of moving between jobs, but again, nothing concrete was found. What makes this even stranger? Despite dozens of suspects over the years, no one has ever been charged and no concrete evidence has ever surfaced. The killer remained undetected, as if they vanished into thin air. Over time, the Hinterkaifeck murders became one of the most notorious unsolved cases in Europe, inspiring books, documentaries, and theories. It captured the imagination of not just the people of Germany, but people worldwide. What happened to the Hinterkaifeck family? How could someone have committed such a brutal crime and then lived among the dead? Despite multiple investigations, new leads, and ongoing public interest, the case remains unsolved. And some say, to this day, strange noises continue to come from the site of the old farmhouse. Is it the ghosts of the family, or is it the sound of something far more sinister? The Hinterkaifeck murders will likely remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. Could the killer still be alive today? Or will the truth never come to light? As unsettling as it is, we may never know. And that in itself is what makes this story so haunting. What do you think happened at Hinterkaifeck? Drop your theories and thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe.